Before you do anything, you gotta have that emergency fund. Me personally, I want you to have anywhere between $1,500 and $2,000. Anywhere between $1,500 and $2,000, you gotta have that before investing because we are living in a real life situation, yo. And if you don't got no type of liquidity, you know, some people say 3 months to 6 months, but everybody 3 to 6 months look different, right? But I need you to have $1,500 to $2,000 just like that you're not touching. Emergency means emergency, not emergency pair of shoes, not emergency bag, not I need to take emergency trip out of town to just go chill and relax. Emergency, life-threatening, life-altering. Emergency. All right, man, what's good, man? Listen, right now we're gonna break down how to build out a portfolio if you in your 30s. That's right. So every age tier has a different way that they should truly build out a portfolio. And what we've done with your boy, Wall Street Travel, what I've done is I've literally put a framework together if you're in your 30s, right? I'm gonna do one for the 20s, I'm gonna do one for the 40s, and this one is gonna be specifically for people in their 30s, right? Because this framework gonna be really catered to you because you're at a certain age bracket where you're not far from, you're 30 years from retirement, but you're not young, like in your 20s, so you think you behind the 8 ball, but you're not, because wealth is a crock pot game, not a microwave game. And I'm gonna break that down for you. So here I want you to like, I want you to subscribe to the channel, and listen, get your pens, get your paper, because we definitely gonna break some stuff down for you to learn, and you can really move your portfolio around based on this, man. Let's get it, man. First, we're gonna just talk about this. Because you are 30, right, you really have about 30 plus years to this word right here, to retirement, right? But what I like to talk about is we won't be wealthy before retirement, right? We don't want to spend our whole life working, right? But we also, what we need to do is put things in position that can help us grow now and later, right? Because what happens is if you don't take advantage of today and build for tomorrow, then when tomorrow comes, you'll be no better off than you was today, right? You'll be no better off. And one of the things, if you look at people right now in their 60s and in their 70s, they're like, damn, like I could have did some better things with my bread, but they didn't have access to the information that we currently have access to. So that's what gives you the advantage. So one of the things, and I wrote this down, right? So in your 30s, you should have, watch this, clear goals, right? You should have clear goals. Well, we should say clear financial goals on what you want to do. We're talking house, car. You should have that, right? And the next thing we should have is, watch this, tailored objectives, right? And that's important. The reason why that's important because not only do we have goals, but then we set the path that gets us to the goal, right? I think about it like, when they used to have this lake by my grandmother's house, and on the lake they used to have like little stones, right? But the overall goal was to get us to the other side. We used to have to hop on the stones, right? So those are the objectives that are clear that gets us there. So the objectives help us get to the goal, right? And so what I want to do today is I want to break this down for you at 30. So one of the things we want to deal with is I'm gonna break down a whole portfolio, a whole framework for you, but I gotta show you some things, right? At 30, you gotta measure your risk tolerance. And you should have more, watch this, you should have more flexibility, and you gonna fall somewhere under this. Mildly conservative to mildly aggressive. You somewhere in between there. Now, we talking about on average. We not talking about everybody because we know some of y'all like, yo, I'm betting the house on it, right? So we not talking about, so anyway, and you in the 30s, you here. If I'm being honest with you, like this is at 30, like if you in 30, now's the time for you to really start building that foundation. You should really be like, because this is the pivotal season of your life at 30. right? In your teens, you kind of just all over the place. In your 20s, you kind of just like, all right, things make a little more sense to you, right? You're maturing. You're starting to understand the things about money, the concepts behind it. So now in your 30s, this is the most pivotal part of your life. And the reason why this is pivotal in your 30s is because now you're saying, here's the goals. Like you understand how you want your life to look. In your 20s, you still got time to navigate like, all right, I want to do this. In your 30s, you should be done solidified. This is how I want life to look for me. And if you haven't did that in your 30s, you should need to start now. Now is the right time to say, okay, here's what I want life to look like for me in the next couple years, in the next 5 years, in the next 3 years, in the next 10 years. Of course, you'll pivot along the way, but we need to start putting those objectives in place. So I want to understand it. So this is the foundational years. All right, so let's do this first and foremost. We got to do this, right? This EF. Before you do anything, you got to have that emergency fund. Me personally, I want you to have anywhere between $1,500 and $2,000. Anywhere between $1,500 and $2,000, you gotta have that before investing because we are living in a real life situation, yo. And if you don't got no type of liquidity, you know, some people say 3 months to 6 months, but everybody 3 to 6 months look different, right? But I need you to have $1,500 to $2,000 just like that you're not touching. Emergency means emergency, not emergency pair of shoes, not emergency bag, not I need to take emergency trip out of town to just go chill and relax. Emergency, life-threatening, life-altering. Emergency. I don't care if your boyfriend went to jail or your girlfriend, that ain't emergency money. We got to find emergency, meaning it's about to collapse. Emergency, right? And the next thing I want us to do is, watch this, yo. Avoid extreme, watch the word I'm about to use here, volatility, right? I'm going to say extreme volatile stocks. I want us to avoid that. I want us to avoid those because even though we have room to grow and we have room, I want us to avoid, and that's just saying, let me get in this stock because it costs $1, and if it go to $8, I'm good. Let's avoid them type of situations, right? They don't work in our favor. They not for us. It's not what we're doing, right? So we're going to get the emergency fund and we're going to avoid extreme volatile stocks. Now let's build out the framework. Let's build out the framework. So I want you to go, watch this. I want you to go 30%, watch what I'm about to do here, large, 30% large cap. So that's your Apple, that's your Microsoft, that's your well-established stocks. I want you to go 30% large cap. And the reason why, this is going to be your foundation. This is going to be your foundation. So 30% large cap, right? But watch me here. I'm going to go 20% mid cap, right? And I'm going to call this your growth support, right? That's going to be your growth support right there. You're going to go 30% large cap, 30% mid cap. Now, mid cap stocks, they're a little more volatile than large cap, but they still are stabilized companies, right? I'm building this out for y'all, right? Next, watch this, y'all. We gonna go, watch this. We gonna go 10% ETFs. Because now I want you to get a basket. I want you to basket that out, right? I want you to basket that out, right? Basket that out. So now you finding some safety. So your large cap is your foundation because you still got growth. Let's say you going Nvidia. Let's say you going Apple. Let's say you going Amazon. Let's say you going Meta. Let's say you going Eli Lilly, right? And, you know, and we'll put this right here to go with it too, so you can understand it. Mega cap and large cap combined, right? This is going to be support the growth. So this is going, and then the ETFs now give you a safety basket. Your ETF's going to give you that safety basket, right? Now, the next thing we're going to do, watch this. We're going to go, watch this, 5% small. So this is going to be the smallest part of your portfolio. You can go 5% small cap, which is probably one company, maybe two at best, right? Because you still can get a spike in growth, right? But it's if this is not going well, it doesn't sink your whole portfolio. Right? It doesn't sink your whole portfolio if this not going well. So we find us like one, maybe two good small cap stocks that we really like. We still getting some growth. They got a bright future. We like that, right? So then let's break it down a little more. Now watch this. This is where we're going to get a little tricky at. we gonna go 20% options. All right, we're gonna go 20% options. Now, chat, why are you going 20% options? Because the options gonna allow us to, watch this, generate passive income. And that passive income, you're gonna reinvest to build the portfolio. Now watch this. Here's my last one. We're gonna go 15% dividend focus. We're gonna go 15% dividend focus. Why? So we're gonna focus on dividends where we can do REITs, we can do companies with good dividend yields, because now we will reinvest the dividends at 30. We're gonna reinvest the dividends to build the positions. Now, all your dividends are gonna be reinvested in all these companies. Mid-caps probably not gonna have it, but your dividends right here and your dividends here, you're gonna reinvest them for sure, but then you're gonna let these out later on for passive income. So now what we're gonna do with this is we're gonna label this as, watch this, we're gonna label this as slow passive, and we're gonna label the options as growth passive. Or we're gonna change that word. Watch this. I got a better word for it. Ooh, active passive. Now the reason why we call it an active passive, I know it's a crazy combination, because this is actively generating income in the portfolio. This one is not generating income until later, because we're using the dividends to reinvest to build the positions so that later on in life, the dividends become another form of passive income for us. So we go 30% large mid cap. That gives us the foundations of how our portfolio is going to be built out. That's strong, that's solid, that's great companies. You figure out that. Then we go 20% in our mid-cap stocks, and that's gonna support the growth, because the apple is not really growing no more, but it's still moving. You know, some of them depending on where you go at, but here's the mid-cap gonna give us growth. Those companies are still growing at a rapid pace, and we like that, right? So it still gives us some volatility, because right here on this bank, we said we are mildly conservative to mildly aggressive. Meaning you're not too conservative, you know, you're not like, I ain't doing nothing, so you mild, but you also mildly aggressive. So you're in that good space. So on a scale of 1 to 10, on 1 to 100 as an investor, right here, you probably be at like 55, maybe 60, right? You're not, you know what I'm saying? So we like this combination, right? We like this combination. And so here we go 10% ETFs, and what does this do? It balances out the growth. This balances out your growth. This balances out the volatility. Then we go 5%. Why? Because it gives us a spike. It gives us a spike. It's like a little dynamite. Bow. You know what I'm saying? Bow. That's crazy. But then watch this. We're going to use the options portfolio at 20%. We're going to take that to fund money into the account. Now, if y'all like me, I take zero money out of my account, right? Because my options money is to help build my accounts the way they are. And then we go 15% dividends, and that truly allows us to play the thing. Now, here's what I wrote down. This type of portfolio allows you to preserve capital. It allows you moderate growth. It allows you income generation from dividends and options. So you're preserving capital. Why? Because you're not just losing capital because you're super aggressive. So this allows you to preserve capital, and also it allows you to preserve capital. Watch this, because you don't have to fund it as much with your working capital, because you're now letting the market produce capital, and because the market is producing capital, the market is actually funding the account. Come on, man. Who else gonna break it down to you like this, man? Let's go, man. I did this for y'all. So if you're in your 30s, this is the type of portfolio framework that your boy Trap has built out for you, man. Let me know in the chat how you feel about this type of thing. I want to do another one for 20s. I want to do another one for 40s. I want to do another one for 50s. I want to do another one for 60s. Let me know in the chat how you feel about it. Also remember, man, that's not me telling you, hit me up on WhatsApp and all that. That ain't me. Y'all know I don't get down like that, right? Check me out on Instagram, Wall_Street_Trapper. Also, make sure you like and subscribe to this video. Share this video, right? And check us out each and every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time on the Wall Street Looks Like Us Now network. It's your boy, the Wall Street Trapper, man. Salute.